Focus on yourself, and everything else will fall into place. The day you start putting yourself first is the day your real life truly begins. Most people live their entire lives just reacting to what's happening around them. What other people think, what other people want, what other people need. And in that whirlwind, they lose themselves. They forget their own dreams, they forget their peace of mind, and they forget to make time for themselves. Then, one day, they wake up startled, not just physically exhausted, but mentally and emotionally drained because they've been there for everyone except themselves. You have to put yourself first, not just once in a while, not just when everything falls apart, but every single day. Every thought, every choice, every moment of your day must reflect who you are, what you need, and the life you want to live. Because if you don't prioritize yourself, nobody else will. The world isn't going to stop and ask if you're okay. If you don't stand up and take the reins of your life, you'll be swept away by the current of other people's lives. It's time to take back control. This isn't about being comfortable, and this isn't about sugarcoating things or being polite. This is the truth. You are under no obligation to give away your energy and time to others when you haven't even taken care of yourself. What you truly owe yourself is discipline. The discipline to wake up every day and live a life of value, not just to survive, but to live as if you are truly worthy of all good things. We're going to start by breaking the habits that keep you playing small. We will learn how to push back against the pressure to please everyone. And most importantly, we will build a new mindset. A mindset where your future is back in your own hands. No more living to make others happy. It's time to live to make yourself feel free, fulfilled, and joyful. It's time to think about you. Not sometimes, always. First, you must put your own needs first every single day. Not once a week, not just on the weekends, and certainly not only when you're completely burned out. Every single day, no exceptions. That is how you build a life that is real, solid, deeply powerful, and has substance. It's how you build inner strength. It's how you stay calm and centered when everything around you is chaotic and uncertain. So many people spend their entire lives pouring everything they have into others, only to wonder why they always feel empty and depleted. It's not because they're weak, it's because they've forgotten how to love and care for themselves. They always put others first, and their own needs get pushed to the bottom of the list, to be dealt with if there's time. But the truth is, your needs are just as important as anyone else's. They aren't something to be ignored, and they are not a sign of selfishness. Taking care of yourself doesn't mean you're heartless toward others. It simply means you respect your own life enough to always show up as the best version of yourself. Healthy, clear-headed, and with a clear sense of purpose. If you're not eating right, not sleeping enough, not keeping your mind sharp, and not taking steps toward your own goals, you'll have nothing left to give anyone else. You can't pour from an empty cup. People often make the excuse, "I'm too busy, I don't have time for myself." But the reality is, if you're too busy to make a little time for yourself, you are, in fact, too busy, and that's a serious problem. Think about it. You can't live your whole life running on fumes for others while you're slowly running out of fuel from within. You wake up tired, feeling resentful and unmotivated. Why? Because you've programmed yourself to react to everyone's needs but your own. You answer every call, say yes to every request, and help out even when you don't want to. That's not discipline. That's self-abandonment. That's not kindness. That's letting your life, your time, your energy, and your sense of purpose leak away drop by drop. The moment you start putting yourself first every day, everything begins to change. You get your time back, you get your peace of mind back, and you start to feel like yourself again. Not the tired, worn-out version, but the strong, clear-headed person who knows what's important and goes after it relentlessly. And the best part? You don't need anyone's permission to do it. You don't need anyone's approval. You don't need to wait for a cheering section to start taking care of yourself. Every morning, you have the absolute right to wake up and say, "Today, I choose me." You have the right to stop explaining your choices, the right to rest when your body is screaming for it, the right to cancel plans that drain you. You have the right to focus on your health, your peace, your knowledge, and your mission in life. That's not selfish, it's wise, it's real, and it's the only way you can run the full marathon of this life with integrity and meaning. And remember, this isn't about trying to be perfect, nor does it mean you have to have every single step of your plan figured out. The core of it is that every day you need to create real space, a quiet moment to check in with yourself, to ask, how am I feeling today? What do I need? Where am I feeling stuck? What do I want to improve? These aren't easy questions, which is why so many people avoid them. They choose to keep rushing forward, to keep pleasing others, to keep finishing the tasks that others expect of them. But if you never stop to look inward, you'll be stuck in the same old loop, repeating the same patterns without making any progress. You have to be clear, you have to be intentional. You have to ditch the habit of reacting unconsciously and start proactively steering your life. That means you need to learn to say no when necessary. It means you might have to wake up earlier to make time for your personal growth. It means you need to cut out distractions, reduce the noise around you, and keep your eyes fixed on the things you've committed to as most important to you. Your needs aren't a side project to get to later when you have free time. They are a responsibility that needs to be prioritized right now, in the present. And no one can do that for you. Don't wait for someone to come and save you from your burnout. Don't expect life to magically slow down so you can breathe. Don't wait for permission to slow down and love yourself. Decide today that you will be fully present for yourself in every aspect of your life. That means you have to master your mind, you have to move your body, you have to think clearly, you have to save your money, you have to read, listen, and learn things that make you better every single day. You want to see results? You want to grow? Then start right here. Every day, choose yourself as priority number one. A lot of people won't understand you. They'll think you're becoming distant. They'll say, you've changed, and they're right. You are changing. You're no longer available for the things that used to hold you back. You no longer apologize for needing your own space. You no longer bend over backward every time someone demands something. That doesn't mean you're cold. It means you're clear. It means you're protecting your energy so you can keep building, so you can keep growing. Because the truth is, if you keep giving everything away, eventually you'll have nothing left for yourself. And here's a non-negotiable principle. People will only truly respect you when you know how to respect yourself. When you know how to set boundaries, when you know how to be firm, when you place your needs in their rightful position, you are teaching others how they should treat you. When you show that your time is valuable, that you're living a life with direction and purpose, you force others to adjust how they show up in your life. They need to come to you with the same respect, discipline, and sense of responsibility that you show yourself. You only get this one life, not 1,000 chances to try again, just one. So why would you waste a single day living on someone else's schedule, tolerating someone else's demands, or adjusting your own emotions just to accommodate someone else's mood? That's not living. That's just reacting. That's trying to survive. And you weren't born just to survive. You were born to live fully. But that will never happen if you keep pushing yourself to the back of the line in every decision. Your needs must come first, not last, not when you're free, not if there's time. First. Take your daily schedule and put yourself in it, not as an afterthought you squeeze in, but as a real priority. Make time to think. Make time to work on your own goals. Make time to take care of your physical and mental health. You don't have to explain that to anyone. This is your foundation for survival. Without it, everything else will start to crumble. Your relationships, your work, your health, your peace of mind. When you forget about yourself, you get lost. And when you're lost, the world around you starts to feel heavy, even when nothing major is going wrong. Start simple. Just give yourself 30 minutes every day. Dedicated, uninterrupted. No noise, no phone, no social media. Just you and yourself. Check your finances. Check your progress on your goals. Plan your next move. Rest. Refuel your body. Nurture your spirit. Reflect on your actions. Those small things, when repeated consistently, will accumulate into massive change. Then you'll start to feel the transformation. You'll walk differently. You'll talk differently. You'll become more grounded. Why? Because you're no longer chasing things on the outside. You've planted your roots on the inside, where the things that truly matter to you are. That is what it means to live with intention. Not waiting for life to fall apart before you start patching things up. Not letting the outside world decide what's important. It means you've taken back that power. The power to be the master of your own life. And it all starts the moment you tell yourself, my needs are the top priority. Not because you're selfish, but because you're strong enough to understand that you have to protect your time, your energy, and your own future. Every day you do that, you'll become better, stronger, and sharper. And then you'll realize something very important. The people who genuinely care about you won't be bothered when you start prioritizing yourself. On the contrary, they will support you. And the ones who feel offended or hurt because you set a boundary, they were never on your side to begin with. So today, you make a decision. Not a half-hearted one, not a lukewarm promise, but a clear commitment. You are the #1 priority in your life. Your peace, your energy, your direction, every single day, they matter. And you don't have to apologize for it. Because you weren't born to live in a state of exhaustion and fatigue. You were born to build a life worth living. And that journey always starts with you. Every single time, every single day, always. If these words resonated with you or brought you value, I hope you'll hit the like button to support this content. Share it with people who need to hear this, and subscribe to the Journey to Success channel right now. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you'll be the first to know when a new video drops. This channel will always be here to support you on your path of self-development and overcoming any challenge. Second, choose the path of growth even if it makes you unpopular. Most people won't tell you this, but when you decide to change and grow, you're going to lose some relationships. That's the part nobody warns you about. Growth sounds exciting until you realize it comes with discomfort, distance, and even disconnection. You start making new decisions. You change the way you talk, the way you think, and especially, you start valuing your time more. And then, suddenly, the people around you don't know how to act around you anymore. They were used to the old version of you, the one who was always quiet, always went along with things, never asked questions, and never made waves. But if you truly want a better life, you have to accept a hard reality. Some people will not be happy for your success, and that is perfectly okay. You are not living to please everyone. You are living to become someone you can respect. That means you're going to make choices that other people don't understand. You're going to reject things that the majority readily accepts. You're going to spend your evenings working on yourself instead of wasting time on meaningless activities. You're going to step away from gossip, cut out the drama, and get serious about your habits. And the more you do that, the more you'll notice who starts to get uncomfortable with your progress. But here's the truth. Your life is not a democracy. You don't need a popular vote of approval. What you need is a clear vision for your future. When you choose growth, you stop explaining yourself to people who have no intention of moving forward. You stop dumbing down your goals just to make others feel comfortable. You stop hiding your discipline just because someone says you're too intense. And then you'll understand that other people's approval is too high a price to pay if it costs you the future you're trying to build. You weren't born to stand still. You weren't born to blend in and be invisible in the crowd. And if being accepted means staying stuck, then becoming unpopular might be the wisest decision you ever make. Many people say they want to grow, but the reality is they don't want the pressure that comes with it. Growth means you have to adopt new standards, even if it hurts or bothers the people who live by the old ones. It means you wake up early while others are still asleep. It means you know how to set boundaries when others easily say yes to everything. You are consistent. You are persistent. You are willing to face the challenges that most people would quickly give up on. And when they call you distant, cold, or even arrogant, remind yourself, your goal isn't to be liked. Your goal is to live a life that is true to the one you chose. This isn't a game of fleeting feelings. This is the journey of living by your values, clearly, powerfully, and unapologetically. You cannot build a solid life if you're still dependent on the flimsy approval of others. If you're constantly hoping to be liked by everyone, you will never grow up. You'll keep hiding your ideas, you'll keep staying silent when you should speak up, you'll keep shrinking your presence just to avoid conflict, and slowly in the process, you will lose yourself. But if you choose growth, it means you choose truth. You start living with a clear purpose, no longer controlled by external pressure. You stop waiting to fit in and start working to stand out. And the people who truly matter in your life won't just accept that, they will respect it. It's here that a profound shift begins to happen. You no longer make decisions based on temporary comfort, but on alignment with the path you've chosen. You don't need to be at every party, you don't need to be in every conversation, and you don't need to follow every trend. Because now you understand the value of your time, your energy, and your peace of mind. You are not here to be universally known. You are here to make a real impact. And sometimes, making an impact looks like being alone. It's choosing to grow even when no one is clapping for you, even when you're misunderstood, even when people walk away from you. You owe it to yourself to make the right choice, the choice that moves you forward, not the one that keeps you in a crowded but suffocating circle. Not everyone will grow with you. That's not your fault. People often feel safe with what's familiar. When you break that pattern, they feel threatened, they feel left behind. But you are not responsible for their discomfort. You have only one responsibility: to grow yourself. Maybe the people who don't understand you today will respect you one day, or maybe they never will. But either way, your mission doesn't change. Keep growing. Because if you choose to stay stuck just to keep others happy, that is the shortest path to a dead end. There will be times when you feel lonely while you're changing. You'll wish for someone who truly gets it. You'll hope for someone to tell you, "I see what you're doing, and I'm proud of you." But sometimes, you'll have to be the one to say those words to yourself. You have to keep moving forward, even when you're surrounded by silence. You have to believe that what you're doing today will pay off, even if no one else sees the future you're painting. And every day, you need to remind yourself, this is your life, your path, and your responsibility. No one can live it for you, no one can endure it for you, no one can achieve your dreams but you. Everything starts to change when you stop living for the crowd. When you're no longer trying to please everyone, you'll feel a new source of power from within. The power of peace, of clarity in your thoughts and actions. You no longer doubt your path just because of someone else's discomfort. You no longer seek support from people who never genuinely wanted you to succeed in the first place. You become more focused, more clear, more goal-oriented. You start showing up with a different energy, an upgraded, more serious version of yourself. And then, gradually, the people around you don't just notice the change, they start to respect you. Because deep down, even the people who once criticized you know that it takes a lot of courage to do what you're doing. So, if you are on a journey of growth, keep walking. Even if it makes you less popular, even if some people don't understand you, even if they call you different or weird. Because you were not born to live forever in a comfort zone, just to be accepted. You were born to become someone you can be proud of when you look back. And that path means you will lose some people. You will go through moments of loneliness and confusion. But in return, you will gain something that popularity or consensus can never give you: clarity, peace, a clear direction, and self-respect. And those things are worth infinitely more than any approval from others. Choose growth every day, no matter the cost, because what you get in return, inner strength and the freedom to be yourself, is priceless. Third, if you want to improve your life, start by refining your daily habits. Most people don't struggle because they lack intelligence or talent, but because their daily habits are silently holding them back. The way you start your morning, the way you use your time, the way you react to pressure, it all contributes to the person you are. The small actions you repeat every day accumulate and shape the life you're living. If you keep maintaining habits that scatter your focus and drain your energy, you can't expect to achieve high performance or live an excellent life. The future doesn't require you to make massive, sweeping changes. It just requires you to perform small but correct habits consistently, every single day. Refining your habits isn't about doing more, it's about doing better. You don't need to cram your schedule with hundreds of tasks. What you really need is to master a few key actions, small things that have a big impact, things that move your life forward instead of just spinning your wheels. Many people are busy all day but still aren't effective. They confuse movement with progress. If you want better results, you need to be honest with yourself about where your time is going, which habits are helping you advance, and which ones are holding you back. If you don't dare to face these questions, nothing will change. All improvement begins when you stop lying to yourself about what's truly helping you and what's silently destroying you. Increasing your daily performance doesn't mean working harder or for longer hours. It's about working with sharper focus and clearer goals. Start by looking at how you begin your day. Are you the master of your morning, or are you just a reactor to random events that come your way? The first hour of the day is crucial. It sets the tone, the energy, and the rhythm for the rest of the day. If you start your day in a scattered state, you're likely to end it feeling tired and disappointed. Conversely, if you start your day with discipline, everything will flow more smoothly and effectively. Creating good habits doesn't require perfection. What you need are habits that align with your goals, not habits that are silently sabotaging them. This also means you need to eliminate behaviors that seem harmless but are secretly dulling your edge, like mindless phone scrolling, skipping meals, procrastinating on important tasks, or just talking about your dreams instead of acting on them. These behaviors repeat in a cycle, and over time, they affect your morale, your energy, and even your self-confidence. You cannot build a solid life while maintaining weak habits. It's simply not possible. If you let small distractions take over your days, you will always feel like you're falling behind. But if you start to take back control, even with small changes, you'll find yourself becoming stronger, sharper, and more focused every day. Treat your time as a precious asset. That means you need to be ruthless in eliminating anything that doesn't serve your focus and your goals. Set clear rules. Don't check messages the moment you wake up. Don't let your schedule be dictated by other people's emergencies. Proactively choose how you use your time. Choose what deserves your attention. Choose what you will say yes to. And more importantly, learn to bravely say no to things that don't serve the life you want to build. When you know how to refine your habits, you make fewer mistakes. You stop wasting energy on unimportant things, thereby protecting your productivity and preserving your own growth. Well-honed habits help you show up prepared instead of overwhelmed and fumbling. They make your decisions automatic, no longer based on feelings or hesitation. When your habits are clear and sustainable, you no longer have to agonize over discipline. It becomes an inseparable part of who you are. You don't have to waste time debating whether to work out, read, or stay focused today. You just do it because you've trained yourself not to hesitate. Real performance is built on a foundation of consistency, not luck. If you want to be more effective, create habits that support your strengths, not your comfort. The truth is, your habits are a mirror reflecting the values you truly hold. You can say you want to grow, but if you don't show up for it every day, it's just a pipe dream. You can say you want clarity in your life, but if your habits create noise and chaos, you're just pretending. A chaotic life doesn't always come from external circumstances. Sometimes it comes from habits that lack organization and structure. Structure isn't about restrictive control. It's about clear direction that helps you focus your energy on what matters most. Once you know how to direct your energy properly, you'll work more effectively in every area of your life. Refining your habits is how you stop wasting your potential. It turns goals into actions and time into progress. People don't fail because their dreams are too big, but because their daily habits don't align with those dreams. You can have the grandest ambitions, but if your habits pull you off course, you'll forever be stuck. Thinking about yourself every day means you have to be serious about your daily actions, not just doing them once in a while, but every single day. You can't wait for motivation to arrive to fix your habits. You have to decide and act even when you don't feel ready. Most people live on autopilot, doing what's easy, not what's right. Then they wonder why they feel lost and without direction. But when you refine your habits, you give yourself a compass. You'll feel clearer, more focused, and more confident. You won't have to force yourself through each day because you've built a system that naturally guides you forward. That system starts with your choices, your priorities, and your actions, not from what others want you to do, and not from what you feel obligated to do. Make tracking your daily habits your commitment. Reflect on what's working, eliminate what's wasting your time, and reinforce the habits that help you grow. Your performance depends entirely on how well you can do this. No one else can do it for you. This is your responsibility. No one is going to come to you and teach you how to live. You have to choose for yourself, to organize your day in a way that supports your spirit, your energy, and your personal goals. That is the true meaning of always thinking about yourself, living seriously enough to refine and perfect your life little by little every single day. Fourth, focus on what you truly want, not on what others expect. The majority of people live their lives bound by expectations that were never theirs to begin with. They do what their parents wanted, they chase the standards that society accepts, and they choose a path just to avoid being judged. After years of living according to what others said was right, they wake up feeling lost, disconnected, and full of resentment. That is the inevitable consequence of building your life on someone else's expectations instead of pursuing what you truly desire. You were not born to live out someone else's plan. You were born to create your own path. And that only begins when you stop chasing external approval and instead choose a clear direction for yourself. When you truly focus on what you want, you will feel a new sense of aliveness within you. You stop pretending to be happy, you stop playing the part of someone who is content, and you stop agreeing to plans that drain you. Life doesn't necessarily get easier, but it becomes more authentic than ever before. You start to feel a connection to your choices. You make decisions that reflect the real you, not the person others want you to be. And the more you do this, the more solid you become in your own identity. You no longer have to convince yourself that you're on the right path. You'll know because you're the one who chose it. The pressure to meet expectations is everywhere. People want you to succeed, but only in a way that they understand and approve of. The moment you try a different path, they will question you, doubt you, and try to pull you back to the mold they've created for you. But if you try to please everyone, you will lose yourself in the process. You weren't made to fit into every box. You were made to find the one that fits you. And sometimes that means walking away from the successes that everyone else calls standard. You need to be honest with yourself about what you want, not what looks good, not what gets the most attention, but what is truly meaningful to you. What brings you peace? What makes you feel fulfilled? Maybe it won't impress your friends. Maybe it will disappoint your family. It might even confuse the people around you. But none of that matters if you're building a life that you can proudly stand behind. If you keep sacrificing your personal desires to meet expectations, you will always feel trapped. Even if you do everything right according to others, every decision you make will still carry the weight of their expectations and your own private disappointment. This is what makes people tired and unbalanced. Even if everything on the outside looks fine, you can't keep ignoring yourself and expect to feel whole. You have to ask yourself every day, am I moving closer to what I want, or am I just doing things to be accepted? That question alone is enough to change the entire trajectory of your life. Because the truth is, no one else can answer this question for you. Your life is too important to be shaped by fear. Fear of disappointing others, fear of being misunderstood, fear of stepping outside of traditional boxes. Those fears keep people silent. They keep them stuck in jobs they hate, in relationships that have run their course, in meaningless habits. But once you decide that your peace of mind is more important than pleasing others, everything will start to change. You no longer live for the applause or the praise. You live for the true meaning of your own life. And that change, while it might be uncomfortable and rocky, is what will free you from your invisible chains and help you find real freedom. Thinking about yourself regularly means you learn to listen to your inner voice. You pay attention to the things that excite you, the challenges that push you forward, the things you can't stop craving. That's not selfish. It's being in tune with yourself. It's how you build a life that belongs to you, not a life borrowed from others. When you start living this way, you no longer need constant validation from the outside. You stop second-guessing your every move. You stop waiting for signs to prove you're on the right track. Because now, you're no longer running in someone else's race. You're running your own. Maybe you don't have all the answers right now. That's perfectly normal. Clarity doesn't come from waiting. It comes from action. You'll find what you want by trying, by taking small steps, by being honest when you realize something isn't right for you. You don't need a 5-year plan to stop living by other people's expectations. You just need to start with one step today. A step that reflects what is truly important to you. One change, one shift, one honest conversation with yourself. Over time, those choices will shape a life that is more authentic, more powerful, and more complete. Don't waste your time trying to be everything to everyone. If you do, you'll end up being nothing to yourself. You weren't born to carry the burden of other people's expectations while forgetting your own desires. You are not responsible for making everyone around you feel comfortable at the expense of your own freedom. Your job is to be serious enough to own your decisions, your direction, and your desires. That focus will build your confidence, your strength, and remind you every day that this life is yours to live, not for others to judge. So start making choices based on what truly matters to you. Build your days around what energizes you. Stop chasing fleeting and shallow recognition. Let go of the paths that no longer fit. Leave behind the roles you didn't choose. Step into the life you've been putting off for so long. Think about yourself, always. Not because others don't matter, but because for too long you've been trying to be someone you're not. This is the moment to change that. To not just exist, but to truly live. To choose what you want regardless of who disagrees. Because in the end, this life is yours, and it only has meaning when it's a life that truly belongs to you. Fifth, spend your time fixing your own life, not someone else's. It's so easy to get sucked into trying to solve other people's problems. You want to help, you want to be there for them, you want to feel useful. But the more time and energy you invest in patching up someone else's life, the more you delay your own progress. You were not born to carry the weight of everyone's responsibilities while your own life is left neglected and silently screams for your attention. You can't grow when you're busy managing someone else's journey. Growth begins when you acknowledge the areas where you're still running from yourself. Maybe it's a bad habit you need to kick, a financial mess you don't want to look at, or a tough decision you keep putting off. Instead of dealing with those things, you dive into other people's drama. It makes you feel needed, but really, it's just a distraction disguised as generosity. It keeps you busy, but not productive. If you want real change, redirect that focus back to yourself. Stop fixing other people's lives to avoid fixing your own. That's when you start taking real responsibility. Many people feel stuck not because they don't know what to do, but because they keep doing everything for others while their own life is in shambles. You can't effectively help someone when your own foundation is shaky. When your mindset, your habits, your health, or your finances are a mess, what are you bringing to others? A tired, depleted version of yourself, or a confused, directionless person? You can't offer clarity to anyone when you're living in chaos yourself. If you want to make a difference, get your own house in order first. Clean your space, solidify your habits, prioritize what's important. There's a certain comfort in focusing on other people's problems. It makes you feel in control and helps you avoid your own uncomfortable feelings. But that's just a temporary fix. Sooner or later, your life will demand your full attention. You'll look back and see the neglected corners, the delayed plans, the standards you let slide. And in that moment, you'll realize something. It's not their fault, it's yours. Because no one forced you to ignore yourself. That was your choice. The good news is you can change that choice right now by putting yourself at the center of your own life. When you stop trying to fix other people, you free up energy for your own growth. You get your time back, you get your focus back, and you live with more intention. You stop worrying about everyone else's progress and start tracking your own. You don't have to carry everything, you don't have to solve every problem. Some things are not your responsibility. Some people don't want to change, they just want attention. You have to be able to tell the difference and draw a line for yourself. Not because you don't care, but because you finally care enough about yourself to stop wasting time on things that aren't yours to fix. The world doesn't need you to save everyone, it needs you to be a living example of how to save yourself. That is the real impact. That is the inspiration that drives change. People don't follow what you say, they watch what you do. If you're always tired, overwhelmed, and stressed from trying to fix other people's lives, what message are you sending? Nothing changes until you change yourself. Show up for yourself. Define your priorities. Take care of your own responsibilities. Build the life you've been talking about. When you do that, other people will notice. Then your life will speak louder than any advice you could ever give. You have to remind yourself that you don't owe your energy to every seemingly broken situation out there. Not every battle is yours to fight. Not every problem is your responsibility to solve. The more you take on, the less time you have to fix what you've been neglecting in your own life. You only have 24 hours in a day. Use them wisely. Fixing your own life might not bring about massive changes immediately. It can be quiet, uncomfortable, and slow, but it's real, it's honest, and it will work. Day by day, decision by decision, you will gradually shift from a state of barely surviving to one of solid stability, and no one can do that work for you. Start with one thing you've been avoiding for a long time, an area of your life that desperately needs your attention. Maybe it's your health, maybe it's your finances, or maybe it's your mindset. Whatever it is, make it a top priority. Wake up thinking about it and go to bed after you've done something for it. Create progress that you can actually see. You don't have to solve it all in one day, but you have to stop procrastinating. The more time you spend fixing other people's lives, the less time you have to fix what's important to you. Don't wait until you're broken to start rebuilding. Start right now, even if it's just one step at a time. You might feel selfish when you're just focusing on yourself, especially if you've been used to the role of the helper for a long time. But that feeling of guilt is false. You're not abandoning anyone. You're simply choosing yourself for the first time in a very long time. And that's not wrong, it's necessary. When your life is stable, you will show up as a better version of yourself for everyone around you. You'll lead from a place of strength, not exhaustion. You'll help from a place of clarity, not pressure. That shift will change everything. The stronger you become, the more valuable your presence becomes. So instead of continuing to pour all your energy into others while you're running on empty, learn how to refill your own cup first. That's not selfish, that's sustainability. This is your life, not a supporting role in someone else's story. You have work to do. You have a path to follow. You have challenges that belong only to you. Stop looking outside every time something goes wrong. Bring your focus back home, to yourself. Put your effort into your own development. Fixing your own life won't always be easy. It won't always bring immediate satisfaction, but it will absolutely change your future. It will fortify your mind. It will give you back your own power. And that is how you truly take care of yourself, by doing the work that only you can do. Sixth, prioritize your peace of mind as if your life depends on it. Peace isn't a luxury. It's a fundamental condition for your survival and growth. When your mind is in a constant state of chaos, you can't think clearly, make wise decisions, or make sustainable progress. Yet so many people treat peace as an afterthought, something that will only show up when everything else is sorted out. This way of thinking is completely backward. Peace is not the reward for success. It is the foundation that creates success. Without peace, your health will decline, your focus will be scattered, and your relationships will become strained. You'll lose your direction because your mind will only know how to react to the world around it without ever having the time to quiet down and reflect. If you want to truly take care of yourself, protecting your peace must be a daily priority, not something left for last. There's a huge difference between being busy and being at peace. You can race around all day and still feel empty. You can be in a crowd and still feel lonely. You can achieve your goals and still feel lost. Peace doesn't mean isolation. It means harmony within your soul, the ability to stand firm in the middle of life's currents while maintaining your internal balance. But if you don't take the time to stop and create it, you will never find it. You need space, silence, and habits that help you hold on to yourself instead of letting your mind become a tangled mess. You need to know how to disconnect from the external noise and regularly reconnect with your inner self. Start by identifying the things that are disturbing you, that are breaking your peace. It could be the constant notifications on your phone, toxic conversations, unnecessary obligations, or clutter, both in your mind and in your physical space. Your job is to eliminate what weakens you and build up what makes you stronger. That means choosing rest over exhaustion, choosing silence over getting caught up in drama, choosing stillness over chaos. And that has to be done not just once a year, but every single day, every single minute. Most people only seek peace when they're already overwhelmed, but true peace comes from preparation, not from escape. You build it by setting boundaries, you protect it with discipline, and you honor it by daring to say no to things that are not in your best interest. Never apologize for protecting your peace. You don't need to explain why you're pulling back. You don't owe anyone a reason for prioritizing your mental tranquility. If something makes you uncomfortable every time you face it, you have the right to walk away. If something feels heavy, it's your responsibility to lighten that load. Peace doesn't come from waiting for life to slow down. It comes from choosing to slow yourself down when everything around you is speeding up. That is strength. That is clarity. And that's what helps you make decisions based on self-respect, not external pressure. The more you guard your peace, the more clearly you see the world. You stop reacting impulsively to every opinion. You stop chasing every opportunity blindly. You stop responding to every demand, even if it's unnecessary. You become selective, not out of arrogance, but as a life principle. You realize your energy is finite, your time is precious, and your life is not a tool to serve everyone else's convenience. That realization liberates you. It helps you move through life with control instead of confusion. And that's when life truly becomes yours. Not the noises, not the chaoses, but yours. Peace gives you the space to listen to your deepest thoughts without interruption. It creates a space for you to reflect, to reevaluate yourself, and to progress day by day. Peace isn't a state where you've figured everything out or have all the answers. Peace is when you're quiet enough to think clearly, to see problems with a clear mind. Without that peace, you'll rush into decisions, you'll easily be swayed by the crowd, and you'll let external voices drown out your own inner voice. That's when, even if nothing major is happening, life still feels heavy and stressful. When you restore your peace, you also reclaim your own power. You start acting with clear intention instead of panic. This shift profoundly affects how you handle every aspect of your life. You don't have to wait until you're exhausted and collapsing to start prioritizing peace. That's the mistake so many people make. They throw themselves into work and responsibilities until they can't take it anymore, and only then do they try to stop. They give away so much that when they're empty, they wonder why everything feels out of control. Peace isn't something you find when everything is calm. It's something you build while life is still in constant motion. It exists in the morning routine you fiercely protect, in the conversations you know when to walk away from, in the moments you pause before reacting impulsively. These choices may not seem urgent, but they are incredibly important because they create the mental and emotional atmosphere you live in every day. Start paying attention to what recharges you and what drains you. Not every event deserves your reaction. Not every opinion needs your attention. The more you allow things to crowd your space, the more your inner peace will be scattered and weakened. You need clear boundaries, stable habits, and actions that bring you back to yourself. Once you've experienced true peace, you won't want to go back to the noise and chaos. You'll start to choose differently. You'll stop trying to force things that don't fit. You'll live in a way that respects your mental and emotional space every single day. Choosing peace doesn't mean life will be easier. It just means you will be stronger. You'll still face challenges, but you'll know how to get through them without breaking. You'll still have failures, but you'll recover faster. You can still be busy, but you won't fall into a state of burnout. That is what peace gives you: endurance, patience, and clarity. Peace doesn't just happen, but it will come if you make it a priority in your life. Every day, ask yourself, is this worth my peace? If the answer is no, let it go. That decision might seem small in the moment, but in the long run, it will create a full and serene life. This is your reminder that when you take care of yourself, you must treat peace as the standard, not the exception. You weren't born to be constantly crushed by pressure, to be available at all times, or to be emotionally depleted. You were born to grow, to contribute, to become the best version of yourself. And that only happens when your inner world is stable, not chaotic. Protect that peace, cherish it, and build your life around it. Because peace doesn't just affect how you feel, it determines how you live. If your inner peace shatters, everything else in your life will follow. So value your peace every day as if your life depends on it, because truly, it does. 7th, before you say yes, ask yourself what you really need. Most people rush to nod their heads without thinking it through. They agree to help, agree to attend events, agree to talk, agree to take on more responsibility, all out of habit, guilt, pressure from others, or the fear of disappointing someone. But every time you say yes without first asking yourself what you truly need, you're robbing yourself of something incredibly valuable. You lose time, you lose energy, and you lose the space to focus on what really matters to you. Knowing how to pause and ask yourself, what do I need right now, isn't selfish. It's essential. It helps you steer clear of a life filled with obligations that don't actually reflect your true priorities. Your time is limited. Your energy is not infinite. You can only give so much in a single day. If you constantly agree to things without checking in with your own needs, you will burn out, become overwhelmed, and slowly grow resentful. That's not generosity. That's self-abandonment. You were not born to be available for everything, nor is it your responsibility to carry everyone's burdens. Your needs are valid. Your space is important. The more you ignore them, the more you'll feel disconnected and estranged from yourself. Conversely, when you learn to ask yourself what you need before saying yes, you are taking responsibility for your own life. Your choices will gradually begin to reflect what you truly want and need. The power is in that pause. In that moment before you answer, you have the opportunity to choose differently, to stop reacting out of habit, to think and reevaluate. That's when you take back control of your own time. Before you agree to anything, ask, do I have the capacity for this? Does this decision move me closer to my goals? What will this cost me mentally, emotionally, or physically? If you don't ask those questions, you'll forever be spending your energy on things that bring you no value. That's how burnout is formed. That's when regret starts to build. When you start asking these questions, you gain more clarity and life becomes simpler. You have to learn to accept that not everything is worth a yes. Some things sound good but feel wrong when you do them. Some things are urgent for others but not necessary for you. Some people expect your time but don't respect it. And if you don't know how to protect your own time, no one will do it for you. Protecting your time starts with self-awareness. When you're tired, dare to say no. When you're overwhelmed, know when to stop. When it doesn't align with your goals, let it go. This isn't about becoming insensitive or unwilling, it's about being more conscious in every decision. When you respect your own needs, you're building a life that truly supports your mental, emotional, and physical health instead of draining it. Many people still tie their self-worth to what they do for others. They believe that constantly saying yes is how they prove their value, but that's not the case. Your value isn't measured by the number of times you say yes, but by how honest you are with yourself. You are not a machine. You don't have to be constantly running to be meaningful. If you've never stopped to ask yourself what you really need, you will live under the thumb of external demands, and that is not a healthy or sustainable way to live. Taking care of yourself starts with slowing down, listening to your feelings, recognizing your limits, and acknowledging your inner truth before you give anything away. The world won't collapse just because you know how to say no. People will adjust, life will go on, and the more you practice saying no when it doesn't feel right for you, the more peace you will create in your own soul. You don't have to explain or justify the boundaries you set. A firm no is more powerful than a resentful yes. And the only way you can give a clear answer is by first asking yourself, is this right for me at this moment? When you start with that question, your yes will become more genuine, not forced, not driven by guilt. It will be a choice that comes from awareness and self-respect. You'll gradually notice that when you regularly ask yourself what you need, your life feels more balanced. You'll stop taking on too much, you'll stop rushing into every decision, and you'll stop putting yourself last. This doesn't mean you stop helping others. It means you help from a place of strength and calm, not from stress and depletion. When your needs are met, your presence becomes more grounded, your energy more focused, and your relationships will improve, because they won't be built on sacrifice, but on authenticity. You're no longer pretending you're okay. You're living true to who you are and what you need to maintain your balance. Sometimes other people won't understand why you say no. They might be surprised, they might object, they might even question your change. But that's not your problem to carry. Your job is to protect your peace of mind, not to please everyone. If you've spent your whole life saying yes just to keep others comfortable, starting to say no will definitely feel unsettling and difficult at first. But over time, it will become liberating, natural, and eventually your new standard. That's when you'll know you've started to think about yourself in the right way, respecting your own needs even if it might inconvenience someone else. You weren't born to live on autopilot, nor do you have to agree to everything. You were given a voice, a mind, and a heart to help you make conscious choices that align with your own values. Asking yourself what you need is how you tap into that awareness to live a life of purpose instead of being driven by pressure. Most people have never done this. They react out of habit, not intention. Then they wonder why they're always stuck. But you don't have to be stuck like that. You can pause, ask, listen, and decide differently. That is the beginning of change, one conscious decision at a time. This is how you take your life back, by checking in with yourself before you try to please everyone else, by slowing down instead of rushing to react, by being honest with yourself about what truly helps you grow. Every time you ask yourself what you really need before saying yes, you're reminding yourself that your life matters, that your needs are not secondary, and that your direction is your own responsibility. When you build that habit, you will live a life that reflects strength, clarity, and balance. Because thinking about yourself always starts with asking the right question before you give the wrong answer. Eighth, make self-respect the rule, not the exception. Self-respect isn't something you get only after you've succeeded or when you receive validation from others. It's something you practice first from the very beginning. It's not a reward, it's a prerequisite. However, many people treat self-respect like an optional feeling, one that only shows up when they're accepted or approved of by others. That's a completely flawed way of thinking. You don't have to wait to feel respected. You have to actively lead with that respect. You decide what you allow. You choose how you present yourself. And the way you treat yourself sets the standard for how others will treat you. When self-respect becomes your default rule, not the exception, everything changes. You stop begging for validation from others or bending over backward to be liked. You start living a life that's authentic to you. Every time you tolerate something that violates your values, you're slowly chipping away at your self-respect. You tell yourself you're being flexible, you're being generous, but deep down, you feel that small voice whispering, "This isn't who I am." That feeling of tension after saying yes when you really wanted to say no, moments like that accumulate. They don't just disappear. They create a version of you that constantly doubts your own inner strength. When you make self-respect your rule, you stop letting small compromises build up into major regrets. You learn to listen to yourself and act with integrity. There is no lasting peace without self-respect. You can pretend to be confident, you can act tough, but if your daily actions don't align with your values, that peace won't last. You'll feel restless, doubt yourself, and wonder why success doesn't bring you real satisfaction. Self-respect means holding your ground, even when it's uncomfortable. It means being honest with yourself about what you want and what you will not tolerate. That doesn't make you difficult. On the contrary, it makes you clear and transparent. And clear people build stable lives, not perfect, but authentic, solid, and resilient. One of the reasons many people struggle to maintain self-respect is because they're afraid of confrontation. They choose silence over speaking their truth. They want to be accepted more than they want to stand alone. The price they pay is losing their own voice. And when you can no longer hear that voice, you'll live a life that no longer feels like your own. Self-respect isn't about fighting with others. It's about not fighting with yourself. It's about ending your internal conflicts by making choices that align with your principles. That alignment creates power, a quiet power, a real power. And it all starts with doing what you know is right for you. Start observing the habits and patterns in how you treat yourself. When do you lower your standards? When do you ignore the boundaries you've set for yourself? Do you often seek approval from others before considering if something is actually right for you? These small choices are not insignificant. They add up to form the image you carry through life. If you constantly break your own rules, how can you expect others to respect them? People will only treat you the way you treat yourself. If you want to receive more respect, it all has to start with you. That's not pressure, that's empowerment. You don't need to convince anyone else. You need to prove to yourself that your worth is not up for negotiation. You can't be serious about loving and respecting yourself if you still treat your boundaries as flexible suggestions. Boundaries are not about rejection, they are about direction. They help you protect your focus, your time, and your energy. When you live without clear boundaries, life becomes chaotic. You'll say yes too many times, take on too much, and gradually lose the ability to distinguish what's truly important to you. But when self-respect becomes your daily standard, you'll learn to say no clearly and definitively. You no longer have to apologize for needing your own space. You don't feel guilty for protecting your peace. You're not pushing others away, you're creating space to welcome what truly supports you. Self-respect isn't about being rigid or harsh, it's about being honest with yourself. It's choosing actions that align with your standards even when no one is watching. You wake up and make your bed. You eat well and take care of your body. You move, you stay healthy. You speak your truth. You keep the promises you make to yourself. These small habits build dignity, not because they're dramatic, but because they show you that you can fully trust yourself. When you trust yourself, you stop chasing external validation. You stop waiting for praise. You start to walk with a quiet confidence that comes from real discipline, not from fake applause. Demanding respect from others isn't enough if you don't demand it from yourself first. This means you have to consistently maintain that way of life. Don't speak ill of yourself, even in jokes. Don't keep environments in your life that drain you, no matter how familiar they are. Choose actions that respect your intellect, your health, and your future. This isn't about perfection, it's about progress. Self-doubt often comes from having too many external voices crowding your mind. Everyone has an opinion. Everyone thinks they know what's best for you. But in the end, no one else has to live your life. They don't have to endure your pain, and they don't feel the emptiness in your heart. Only you know that. That's why it's your responsibility to quiet the external noise and reconnect with your true inner voice. You might not always be right in every decision, but listening to yourself will get you much further than staying silent just to make others comfortable. Start with the smallest steps. Ask yourself honest questions. What do I really want? What do I need to feel better? What have I been avoiding? What decisions have I delayed because I didn't trust myself enough? Sit quietly with those answers. Don't run from them. Don't edit them to please others. Let the truth emerge, raw and unpolished. This is how you build trust with yourself. One honest answer at a time, one brave decision at a time. The more you persist, the more confident you'll feel. And that confidence doesn't come from perfection. It comes from the consistency between your actions and your values. You'll start to believe in your ability to lead your own life. Wanting validation isn't a weakness, it's very human. But you don't need everyone's consensus to move forward. You just need one clear yes from within yourself. That inner voice is strong enough to guide you if you give it a chance. But if you keep searching for answers on the outside, you'll get stuck in a cycle of confusion. You'll constantly change direction and waste your time. Listening to your inner voice doesn't mean you have to ignore the advice or wisdom of others. It means you have to weigh it against your own values. You take what fits and leave what doesn't, because in the end, the final answer must be yours. There will be people who don't understand your decisions. They will doubt your change. They will question the process you're going through. But you don't need to explain or make them understand. You're not living for their approval. You're building a life that reflects your own truth. That means you're willing to leave behind what no longer fits and move toward what brings you peace, even if someone doesn't applaud it. That requires courage, but over time, you'll realize something. The more you trust your own voice, the clearer your life becomes. You're no longer guessing. You start making choices not out of fear, but with a calm, steady strength from within. Thinking about yourself is never just about self-indulgence. It's about respecting your inner voice. You give that voice an important place, not just when life gets tough, but every day, before every decision, before every commitment, before every change. That voice isn't separate from your growth. It is your growth. When you respect it, you act differently. You live with conviction. You walk through life with the confidence that no matter what happens, you will remain true to yourself. And it's that truth, that trust, that keeps you steady, even when the world around you wants to make you waver. 10th, choose your own path, even if no one agrees with you. Choosing your own path requires immense courage. Most people don't dare to build their own lives, not because they can't, but because they're afraid of being rejected. They want to be accepted, to be agreed with, to be understood. But if you keep waiting for everyone to agree with your direction, you'll wait your whole life without ever taking a step. People will doubt your decision when it doesn't make sense to them, but it doesn't have to make sense to them. The only thing that matters is that it makes sense to you. That's what's valuable. When you finally choose the path that aligns with your values and your future, you're no longer living someone else's version of your life. You're starting to walk your own road. You are not responsible for other people's feelings about the path you choose. Their opinions are often formed from their own fears, not from your vision. People often project the limits they've set for themselves onto you. If you're not careful, you'll accidentally adopt their doubts as if they were your own truth. Just because someone else couldn't do something doesn't mean you can't. Just because they don't see the purpose doesn't mean it's wrong. If you keep changing your direction every time someone raises an eyebrow or expresses doubt, you will never move forward. You are not here to convince anyone. You are here to live up to what you know you can become. Your path is unique. It's built from your experiences, your lessons, and your priorities. No one else can feel that moment inside you when something just clicks, when it resonates so clearly. That quiet but certain feeling isn't random. It's the guidance you've been ignoring every time you caved to external pressure. But the truth is, no one has to live with the consequences of your decisions except you. Not your family, not your friends, and not your critics. So why would you hand over that power to people who don't have to bear the responsibility for it? This is your life, your path to choose, and your burden to carry. At some point, you have to stop looking around for permission. You have to stop waiting for someone to say, yes, that's the right move. That voice may never come, and if it does, it might come too late. The opportunity might have passed, the door might have closed, the moment might be gone. So if your heart tells you to move forward, then move forward. Even if everyone says no, even if they call it a mistake, even if they doubt your reasons. Their skepticism cannot erase your inner truth. Their fear cannot limit your potential. You will lose some people when you choose your own path. That's a fact. Some people won't understand why you're changing. Some will think you've outgrown them. Some will criticize you just to pull you back down. But the people who genuinely care about your growth will not fight against your development. They may not understand immediately, but they will respect it. And as for those who don't, they were just holding on to a version of you that you were never meant to keep. Growth isn't always gentle and smooth. Sometimes it's quiet, sometimes it's lonely, but it is always necessary. And all growth begins when you definitively choose your own path without hesitation. There is a state of peace that only comes when you stop betraying yourself just to keep the peace with others. You wake up without resentment. You walk without second-guessing yourself. You start to feel the power in your decisions, not because they're perfect, but because they are honest and true to you. Choosing your own path is what brings you clarity. And with that clarity, you gain confidence. Not a loud, boastful confidence, but a quiet, resilient confidence built on a foundation of self-trust. You no longer ask, "What will people think?" Instead, you ask, "Is this aligned with me?" That shift changes everything. That mindset frees you from the prison of external opinions. Thinking about yourself means you give yourself the right to lead your own life. Not based on trends, not based on pressure, not based on fear, but based on what builds you into the person you want to become. You are not a follower of other people's expectations. You are the architect of your own future. And builders don't wait for applause. They create value. They build through challenges, through misunderstandings, through doubts. Choosing your own path isn't an act of rebellion. It's an act of self-respect. It's proof that you finally believe your life is worthy of being led from within. Some people will tell you to be realistic. What they mean is, be safe. Be like everyone else. Don't risk discomfort. But staying put just to feel safe is its own kind of danger. You're trading away your potential. You're losing your joy. You're losing your purpose. There's a different kind of discomfort that comes from doing what people expect when your soul knows you're meant for more. That discomfort will never go away. It follows you every day. So choose the discomfort of growth, the discomfort that leads you to meaningful things, the discomfort that makes you expand, not shrink. You don't need to publicize your path to everyone. You don't need validation to start. Your most powerful steps will sometimes be taken in silence. Just you and your decision. Just you and your commitment to see it through. Over time, the results will speak for themselves. Not to impress anyone else, but to prove to yourself that you did what many could not. Listen to that inner calling and act on it. There is power in that choice. There is dignity in trusting your own path. And there is freedom when you walk through life without accepting someone else's definition of success. Choosing your own path is how you show the world you are serious about your life. You're not waiting anymore. You're not begging for understanding. And you're not shrinking yourself to be accepted. You are moving, you are building, you are thinking about yourself with clarity and purpose. And even if no one agrees, even if every voice around you says it's a mistake, if your heart tells you it's right, keep going. Walk with your head held high, with discipline and with conviction. Because you know that this life is only truly meaningful when you live it authentically. Your path, your way, your rules, and the strength to walk it, even if you have to stand alone. If you only take one thing away from this message, let it be this. You matter. Your peace matters. Your time matters. Your direction matters. Stop putting yourself last and then wondering why life feels so heavy. Start making yourself a daily priority, not just an occasional thought. The more you care for and invest time in yourself, the smoother and more effective your life will become. You don't need anyone's permission to change. You don't need approval to take charge of your life. The only thing you need to do is decide that from this moment on, you're done waiting. You're going to act. Always think of yourself, not because others aren't important, but because you've neglected yourself for far too long. Build your own habits, protect your energy, follow your path, and never feel guilty for putting yourself first. This is your life. Live it with clarity, strength, and purpose. And now, get to work, because no one can do it for you. Thank you for watching until the end. If this message helped you find the motivation and belief to keep moving forward on your journey, please hit the like button to support the channel. Don't forget to share this video with friends and family who need this reminder. And especially, subscribe to the Step Forward channel and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next valuable videos. The channel will always be with you on your path of self-development and conquering success. See you in the next video.